We'll all do it together. Are you ready? True, false. All teachers are guaranteed a 30-minute duty-free lunch. You can have lunch. It's duty-free. You're not required to do some duty at school. You're guaranteed that. True or false? True. False. The correct answer is true. Yes. Yes, you're given that right. Number 2. How many of you are making 100 so far? It goes downhill from here. Teachers are entitled to a conference or a preparation period every school day. True or false? True. False. The correct answer is true. Yes. Yes. All right. If you're not being given your time, then you have a principal that may not know the law. That's not smart. All right. Your principal can require you, the teacher, to change a grade, a student's grade. True. False. Here's the correct answer. True. Absolutely. Absolutely. I, as a principal, can think of one time that I made a teacher change a grade. Okay? Because the teacher was wrong. The teacher had wronged a child. But for the most part, teachers are professional. They know what they're doing, but I monitor grades closely. I monitor grades closely. And when I receive complaints from parents about the grading of their child's work, I check into it thoroughly. I didn't dismiss it. I didn't ignore it. Or I didn't say to myself, well, that parent's a screwball. I'll just let that go. No, check into it. But yes, a principal can change grades. And I did. I did change the grade. And I told the teacher, I didn't do it secretively. I explained to the teacher, I'm changing the grade and this is why I'm changing the grade. A student can never be expelled to the streets. You can't kick them out of school, out to the streets. And I don't mean to the streets specifically, I just mean you can't kick them out of school. True or false? True. False. You can kick them out. Here's the answer. True in larger Texas counties. El Paso County, Nueces County, where I came from, there are what are known as JJAEPs, Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Placement Centers. There's a place, either the school system has a place or the county has a place that kids that need to be removed from school for behavioral purposes, that they can go to. Their education continues, but they've been removed from the regular education setting. Does that make sense? So this happened several years ago, back in the 90s, when businesses got sick and tired of delinquents, for lack of a better word, being out on the streets, bothering them, harassing their customers, breaking in, things of that nature. So the business lobby really went after the Texas legislators, and this law was passed. Does that make sense? Somebody had a question.
Yes. Is that the, you said the schools, are you talking about the alternative schools that they can go to here?
Yes. Yes. All right. Lockers and desks, including yours, the teachers, can be searched at any time. Lockers and desks, including yours, the teacher, can be searched at any time. True. False. False. Reasonable cause is an absolute. You must have reasonable suspicion. You must have reasonable cause to search a desk or a locker. You must believe, you must think that there's something in that locker or in that desk that is problematic, that is against school rules, before you can go into it. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am.
Does that include your teacher and there's 2 or 3 desks that are messy? Can you go in and organize this, or you just don't touch the desk?
You would be very, I would be very cautious about organizing it myself. I would tell the student, Ricky, clean that desk out, let's get it organized. Let Ricky pull that stuff out. and then let Ricky organize. And once it's out, then you can say, now put that in first and put that in next, or you can assist that way. But I'd be cautious about going into a student's desk unless you have reasonable suspicion or cause to think there's something in that desk that is problematic. Okay, here we go. A student must stand during the Pledge of Allegiance. True. False. All right, the correct answer is false. You do not have to stand during the Pledge of Allegiance. All right? A teacher can refuse to teach the curriculum. You can refuse to teach the curriculum. The district curriculum, the school curriculum, the state mandated curriculum based on your religious beliefs. True. False. The correct answer is false. You must, by law, teach the curriculum. There's a state mandated curriculum. What's it called? Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. The TEKS, the text, however you wish to pronounce that, all right? And then from the state mandated curriculum, there's typically district curriculum that has been based on the state mandated curriculum, and then the district mandates a curriculum. Then sometimes there's curriculum at the site level. For example, when I was principal, we adopted a phonics program. We were the only school in the system that adopted a particular phonics program. And it was required that you, as a kinder, first, and second grade teacher, teach this phonetic program, this phonics program. All right? Number 8, a teacher can be terminated for not following a student's IEP. What's an IEP? Individual education plan, typically associated with what students? Which students? Special population students. Are students under, special ed students, are students under what umbrella? Beyond special ed?
504.
504. 504. Okay? And what is 504? What's that?
Is it the segment of the law, the code of the law that deals with this?
It deals with students that have disabilities that are not related to special education. For example, our son, when he was in school, long since out of school, but he was dyslexic. So he was covered. He was protected by the 504 umbrella. He was given certain modifications. For example, the school district provided for him a text on tape, as they were called in those days. Originally tape, and ultimately before he graduated became CDs. All right? So, can a teacher be terminated for not following a student's IEP? This is referring to special ed, individual education plan. True. False. The correct answer is true. Years ago, when I was working in personnel, I was associate superintendent for HR. I had a high school principal call me and tell me, we have an English teacher, a senior English teacher, that will not follow the IEP. And he said, will you come over and talk to the teacher? I said, sure, I'll talk to the teacher. So I went down the hallway at Central and I went to the director of special education and I told her about this. And I said, do you want to come along? She said, yes, I want to be there for this. So we went over there and here was this prima donna, this teacher that had been teaching for many years. He was a senior English teacher, and his response was, I will not follow that IEP. Students will rise to my level of expectation, and if they don't belong in this course. Was he right or was he wrong? He was wrong. And I told him, how wealthy are you? Because you are running the risk of being sued. And not only are you going to be sued, your principal's going to be sued, and this district's going to be sued. And what's going to happen is the lawyer that's representing the student that ultimately sues you because you won't follow the IEP is going to go for deep pockets. And they will go for as many deep pockets as they can find, including the teachers. Deep pockets meaning what? Money. Going for money. And the deeper the pocket, the more money that there might be they might be able to acquire. So follow the IEP, very important. A teacher must receive a copy of any and all documentation placed in his or her personnel file. True? False? The correct answer to this is true. Anything that an administrator or anyone puts in your personnel file, you better receive a copy of it. Can you request to see your personnel file at any time? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Absolutely. And number 10, students can evangelize and distribute Bibles while on campus. True. False. The correct answer is true, unless what? Unless what?
They're preaching or they're...
No, they can actually evangelize. They can spread the word.
Okay, let's say they're a club or something. Then they could evangelize if they are a recognized, approved, functioning club. But if they're just people or even students coming on campus, they cannot.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, but unfortunately that's not the law.
Oh, no.
The law says that any student at any time can evangelize and can actually distribute Bibles unless the student is, here's the catch, disrupting the instructional program. Unless they are disrupting the instructional program. So I'm teaching this morning, okay? And Ricardo suddenly gets up and says, I want to distribute these New Testaments, and he starts going around. And I'm kind of sitting here, or standing here thinking, wait a minute, Ricardo, I believe I'm in the middle of instruction here. At that time, I can tell Ricardo, no, you can't distribute those Bibles. Okay? Josh gets up and he starts sharing the good news. And I say, Josh, I appreciate the fact that you believe that way, but you know, I think I'm teaching this morning. When it becomes your turn to teach as a teacher, then feel free, but even as a teacher, you can't do that, okay? But as a student, you can. You can do that.
I want to get something clear. So the students can do that, but as teachers, we cannot wear like crosses.
You can wear it, but you have to be careful with, if a student comes up and says, boy, that's a beautiful crucifix, what does that mean? All you can say, you have to be very careful what you say. What I would say is, it's just representing of my faith. And I wouldn't go any further. Because if you go further and start explaining what that crucifix is, then you may very well begin to proselytize. You may begin to evangelize. You may begin to tell the good news as it relates to the crucifix. Does that make sense? So you have to be religious neutral. You have to be religious neutral. You just can't go there as a teacher. Am I making a little bit of sense here? But students can. Students can, absolutely. You with me? All right, here we go. Extra credit. Who made 100? 1 through 10. Anybody make 100? Here's number 10, unless you need a little bit of extra credit. A special education student must be disciplined differently. A special ed student must be disciplined differently than regular ed students. What do you think? True? False? Oh, now not everybody's voting again. Okay, here it is again. A special ed student must be disciplined differently than the regular ed student. True? False? All right, this is a tough one. That's the reason it's extra credit. Okay, you get it? You got 10 extra points here. Correct answer is false. False. That everyone is disciplined the same unless the special ed's IEP stipulates that that child be disciplined differently. Does that make sense? So we're all treated equally on campus. Regular ed, special ed, bilingual ed, Title I, Title whatever, et cetera, but in special education, you're going to be treated the same in terms of discipline as a regular ed student unless your IEP says so. And that quite often is related to what kind of disability?
ADD.
Yeah, maybe behavioral disabilities, and mental disabilities, and it's just not a good thing to discipline a child because they either don't understand it or they're overwhelmed by it. And you'll find those kind of things sometimes written up in individual education plans. Does that make sense?